Hey everybody, it's Mike. Hope you had a good weekend. Welcome to the Monday call. Again, we had to get started a little bit late because one of the emails we sent out had a bad link, so we were fixing that. So I appreciate your patience on that. And I hope everybody that had that bad link is on. So some people got the right link, some people didn't. So that's why we're getting started late. So the call today is about some things that we're going to be doing next year. I'm pretty excited about this. I've shown it to actually about 5 movers and shakers in the industry, and they were, I would say, unbelievably excited about it because they haven't seen anything like this in a very long time. Something that's radically different, a different concept that people that applies really to anybody age 55 and above. And they claim, and I happen to agree with them for a number of reasons, which I will, or I don't know if I'll go into them or not today, will make advisors that do this a lot of money next year. So I'm excited about that. And what it is something I developed called the TRIP. And what the TRIP is, oops, let me go here, it's the timed replacement of income and inflation protection plan. So if we think about it, what do we want as advisors? We want our calendar filled magically each month at no cost. We want to see only highly qualified people. We want referrals to come in without even having to ask for them. We want CPAs and attorneys to send us all their clients. We want a product that sells itself. We want it so that it's so obvious to the client the advantages of the product that we don't even have to sell it. They just want it. And we want, obviously we have that. We want something that regulators not only are okay with us doing, but love what we're doing. And essentially all those things boil down to what? Is we want our incomes to go up month after month after month. But what we actually experience, well, we want all these things. So what we actually experience is that we never have enough people to see. In marketing, when it doesn't work, is expensive. And when it does work, it's expensive. And any marketing that does work ends up getting shot down by compliance, doesn't it? So marketing just doesn't work like it used to. Referrals are too few and far between. Attorneys and CPAs completely ignore us. And when we finally do find that client, and we found this a lot with guys this year where they've been seeing full seminars and getting in front of good, high-quality people, and then when they finally get in front of them, they can't. The client either doesn't recognize how the solutions can help them, or what a lot of guys have been finding out as well is they find the perfect client. The client wants to work with them, and Missy, front office is calling again. You want to check on that?
Yep, I sure will.
Okay, thanks. So when we finally find a client, they can't move the money because the product they're in has a high surrender charge. They just put the money in there a year ago, and so they can't move without getting hit with high surrender charge. Or it's in alternative investments, maybe non-liquid REIT or private placement where it can't be moved. Or they have an income benefit rider on it where the benefit is so high the client would be foolish to move that money out of there, or there's tax ramifications that are too high for them to move. So when we finally find a client, either they don't recognize what we have as a good thing, or we can't move the money because of any of the number of things that we just talked about. And the fact is that it can't circle back to our own clients. I mean, I've talked to advisors that have done that 3 or 4 times in the past a few years. And you already have all their money, and it's locked up in all these different things. And if you start to move that around, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get compliance and suitability is going to have a hissy fit and get all over you. So you can't do that. So you're kind of stuck. But see, TRIP will solve all those problems for the reasons we're going to talk about today. It's going to get you seeing people, closing people, making money. It pays a 5 to 6% commission the first year. It pays a 0 to 5% commission the second year. And it has a 9% trail over the next 10 to 15 years. So the total commission is going to be about 14 to 20%, depending on which one of those scenarios the second year you would fall into. And it's 100% compliance approved. So this is stuff that, and you'll see here, these are actually products that advisors sell every single day. They're approved by 100% of BDs. They're approved by all the regulatory agencies because they've been used for years. All I've done is combine them in a little bit different way than anybody else has combined before and paying for them in a way nobody's thought about before. So compliance-wise, this is as clean as you can possibly get because these are all products that have already been used for years, just put together in a different way. So there's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. When we think about all the different problems that we have as advisors today, I mean, it's tough out there as advisors today. But when we think of all the different problems we have, there's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson that describes the solution to those problems. And that is, he said that if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. And that's what TRIP is. It's a better mousetrap. So the timed replacement of income and inflation protection plan is that thing that's going to give clients what they want, and when you give clients what they want, you get what you want as well. So TRIP here's what it's going to do for clients. It's going to eliminate their fears. And guys, if you want something that's going to work really well, if you want something that's going to work really well marketing-wise, tap into something that people are afraid of. Because when you find out what people are afraid of and you are offered to protect them from that fear, price does not come up. I need to think about it does not come up. They want that thing as quickly as possible. If the building's on fire and you're selling an exit to the door, they're not going to ask you how much. They're paying whatever it takes to get out. If you're on a lifeboat, or if you're on a boat and the ship's sinking, you don't have to ask how much the life preservers are. People are going to pay whatever it takes. So that's the kind of thing you want. So when you think about it, what are our clients afraid of? Well, the number one thing they're afraid of is health care problems. So if we can protect them from all the ramifications of health care problems, we've got their ear. They're afraid of the economy. I mean, they've been through some really roller coaster rides with the economy in the last 10 years. They're afraid of what could happen. They're afraid of running out of money. They're afraid of what inflation is doing to their standard of living. I mean, with gas prices and grocery prices and health care prices. They're afraid of tax increases. I mean, that's looming as we speak today. They're afraid of changing interest rates, or more importantly, interest rates staying low. It's killing people. And they're afraid of stock market fluctuations. They're afraid of all these things. So if we can eliminate those fears, we've got their ear, and TRIP eliminates all those fears. Now, if we address things that they're afraid of and address things that they want, now not only do we have their attention, we have a sale without even having to utter one sales phrase. They're going to say, I want that thing. So what do clients want? They want growth. Well, you're going to see that the TRIP gives them double the growth that they have right now. They want income. TRIP's going to double their income. They want safety. TRIP's going to double their safety. And it does so with no taxes. So at this point, you should be saying, well, how the heck are you going to double growth? How the heck are you going to double income? How the heck are you going to double safety and give them no taxes? I'm glad you're asking that. Because think about that. If you offered this to a client, how many clients are going to raise their hand and say, yes, I want to do that? So let's just assume that we can do that. If you could do that, how many sales are you going to make next year? A gazillion. Well, guess what? I'm going to show you that the TRIP actually does do this. And here's the best thing about the TRIP. Is the number one reason, and I've helped a lot of guys with objections. And when we boil all the objections down, guess what it always comes down to? What's the number one reason people have objections? They don't want to what? They don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to make a mistake. I've got one person, I'm going to pull out here for a second. I got one person saying there's sound problems. Is everybody having sound problems, or is only one person having sound problems? Can you tell me, can you type in whether you can hear me okay, guys? Sounds fine, sounds fine, sounds fine.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry, Dale, but you're the only one that's having problems, so
and I'm working with Dale to try to get that figured out. But yeah,
okay.
It seems to be just him.
Okay, good. So the thing people are afraid of is making a mistake. So what if they could have a reset button? So if they made a mistake, if they invested in the wrong thing, or they something happened in their life that caused a big expenditure, or whatever it may be, if they made a mistake, how would they like to have a reset button where everything was just reset back to ground zero, so they could start all over again? Would people be interested in that? Yeah, absolutely they're going to be interested in that. Not interested in that, they're going to want that like a son of a gun. So are they going to, now here's the thing, are they going to believe you that you can double their growth, double their income, double their safety, and give them all that tax-free? Of course they're not going to believe that. And I've been talking to you guys for months and months and months about the fact that they don't believe anything that we say, do they? There's only one person they believe, and who's that? There's only one person they're going to believe, and it's certainly not you. Who is it? It's themselves. That's the only person they're going to believe. So the only way that the TRIP works is if you're skilled in the art of what? What do you think you're going to have to be skilled in the art of? Telling them how everything works? No. having them tell you how everything works. And actually, it's set up that way. So the whole trip is a 45-minute, 3-part presentation using software based on motivational interviewing. And so those are the guys that have been paying attention to the coaching in the last year or so. What does motivational interviewing do? It helps people make what? What does motivational interviewing do? It's a discipline of psychology that revolves around one thing, which is helping people make changes. So it was actually designed for people who have addictions and things like that, who don't want to get to make any changes in their life. It's the science or the psychological discipline of having them make decisions to change. And it's 3 parts. The first part is this. The first part is we're going to pat them on the back and have them tell us why their investment is good, and we're going to agree with them. Because if we try to tell them their investment is bad, what's their knee-jerk reaction going to be? If I try to tell them their investment is bad, what's their knee-jerk reaction going to be? To defend it, exactly. So the first part is I'm going to tell them how good their investment is, and then I'm going to have them tell me, but could it be a little bit better? And they're going to obviously say what? Yes, it could be better. Because everything could be better. There's no perfect anything out there, right? So the script in the software has them discover that their investment is good, but it also has them tell us how it could be better. Why do you think it's important then to have them tell us it could be better? Because it creates movement. See, when they come in, they believe that everything's great. So what we're going to do in the first part of this 45-minute presentation is have them say, yeah, my investment's great. Yeah, it could be better, and start telling you why it could be better. So when they start to tell you it could be better, it gets them moving. And let me ask you a question. Is it harder to, if you're going to push a parked car, is it harder when you first start pushing it or after you get it moving? See, inertia is something we have to fight every single day. So what we have to do is get them moving. Once we get them moving, it's easy to keep them moving. It's just hard to get them moving at first. So what we're doing here in part 1 is getting them to tell us how it could be better, how their investment could be better. And we're going to actually use that and leverage that going forward, but the real thing we're trying to accomplish here is getting them thinking, maybe I don't have the best thing in the world. Maybe it could be better. So that's what we're doing in part 1. Part 2 is we're going to have them describe that if it were to be better, how would it be in a perfect world? So they're going to tell us how they'd like to design that perfect investment. And part 3 is going to say, well, we can do that. There is now a way to do just that without giving up what you already have. So that's the presentation in a nutshell. So the way that we do the presentation is that there's software that we're designing right now. There's a script that goes along with that, but the software actually walks you through the script, so you won't even have to memorize the script. The software will actually prompt you for the whole script. And there's 2 simple techniques. The 2 simple techniques are obviously getting on their side and having them tell you. And you can learn it in a day and a half. So some of you have been trying to learn the 5Q system for months, and you've done a very good job of that, but you're still trying to master it. The TRIP process is very, very simple, very, very easy, and you can learn it in a day and a half and start seeing results from that immediately. So let's go into part 1. So it's a 45-minute presentation. I'm not going to go through all of it today because it's actually software, and we're developing the software. That software will not be available probably till early February. So I'm just going to give you the outline of how it works, so you'll see, be able to plan for this. So again, this is just an outline of how it works, but it'll give you enough indication so you can determine for yourself whether you think this will work or not. So essentially, when you look at their investments and their portfolio, what are the 4 things that they want? They want growth, they want income, they want safety, and they want tax protection. I mean, is there anything else that they want besides those 4 things? Growth, income, safety, and tax protection. Those are the 4 things they want their investment to do. So the first part of the software, again, this is just an outline. The software is much nicer than this and more, what would you call it, more self-evident than this. But this will give you an idea of what we're doing. So the part 1, what we're going to do is say, what kind of investment do you have? So this actually, the TRIP works with variable annuities. It works intuitive, thanks. Stocks, it works with mutual funds, it works with bonds, works with REITs, works with everything. Any type of investment out there, it works. But for today, I'm just going to talk about variable annuities. So we'll say, so you have a variable annuity, and that's a great investment. And let's assume it's a variable annuity with an income benefit rider. So why is the variable annuity great when it comes to growth? And they're going to say what? Well, because it's in the market. Yeah, it's in the market, so you get market growth. And if the market fails and you need income, is it good for income? And they're going to say, yeah, because I have this income benefit rider. They say, absolutely. And why is it safe? Well, because I have this income benefit rider. And for tax protection, it's pretty darn good that way too, isn't it? Yeah, it's good because, I don't have to pay taxes on it until I pull it out. Yeah, so for growth, income, safety, and tax protection, it's fantastic. Now, again, we have the software will work for anything: bonds, REITs, regular annuities, variable annuities, stocks, whatever it is they have, managed accounts. It'll work just fine with that because it'll actually the software will prompt them for what the advantages of that particular investment is. So we've just patted on the back saying, hey, you got a good thing here. And then we say, but is there any perfect thing out there? No, there's no perfect thing out there. So if we had it, because if there was a perfect thing out there, you'd be living the high life. I'd be living the high life. I mean, I'd have people wound up around for miles in line to come to see me if I had the perfect investment. So there's no perfect investment out there. So there are some limitations, aren't there, to your variable? And now, don't get me wrong. What you've got is probably one of the best things out there, but there are some limitations, and what are they? So when I go, well, what's the limitations with growth? They're going to say, well, if the market goes down, I don't get any. Yeah, absolutely. There's market goes down, you don't get any growth. And how about income? Well, it's once you turn that on, it's capped, so you get no inflation protection with it. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And safety-wise, well, safety-wise, the account can still go down, can it? The underlying account can still go down, so that's a problem with well, you still have the income, but the account could go down, so that's a limitation. And how about tax protection? Well, the more I make, the more I'm going to have to pay. So again, the software will walk them through the limitations. It prompts them or gives them little hints so they know what the answer is to the limitations. And then we say, so if we could make it better, how would we make these things better? And they're going to go through that. So they say, well, I'd rather have, instead of just market growth, I'd like to have guaranteed growth. And for income, I'd like to have more income. And for safety, I'd like to have more. And again, I'm just giving you the thumbnail sketch. We're going to actually prompt them with the actual answers we're looking for. And I've tried it with 5 different people, and it has worked perfectly for all 5. They all gave me the exact answer I was looking for with the software. And then tax protection wise, we don't want tax deferred. We want tax free. So far, we've patted them on the back for what they have right here. They've told us what the limitations are. Again, the software guides them through that. So now they've said, well, yeah, what I have is good, but it's not perfect. And then they said, well,
Hey, Mike?
with the variable annuity, we'd say, not only would you have guaranteed growth, but you'd have market growth too. Because what if your guaranteed growth was 8% and the market went up 15%? You'd be sad that you didn't get the 15%, right? So the best thing would be what? Market growth and guaranteed growth. And for income, we go through all of these, and they tell us what the best thing would be. And then we're going to say, well, guess what? When your car right now, is your car any different than a car from 1965? Well, yeah, it's a lot different. Well, how is it different? Well, it's got, it's different all the way across the board. It's like, well, for example, is it better when it comes to fuel efficiency? Yeah. Is it better when it comes to comfort? Yeah. Is it better when it comes to convenience? Yeah. Is it better when it comes to safety? Yes. So cars have gotten what in the last 30 years? Well, they've gotten better. Yeah. Well, how about just in the last 10 years? Is a car bought today the same or different than 10 years ago? Well, different. And how? Well, they've gotten better. How about just last year? Have they gotten better or worse? They've gotten better. Yeah, for all those things we talked about, right? And the same thing is with investments. Because here's the thing. When you invested in your variable annuity, and again, this works for everything, when you invested in your variable annuity, that was the best thing out there. That was the best thing that was available. But what do you think's happened since you've invested in that variable annuity? Even if it was last year, what do you think's happened? Well, things have gotten better. You're exactly right. And here lately, in the last few months, they've come out with something that does all these things. All the things that you said that would make it the best investment ever, they've come out with something that actually does that. It's called the TRIP, the Timed Replacement of Income and Inflation Protection Plan. So it is the best investment out there. But it's still, what did we say about perfect investments? Do perfect investments exist? Well, no, perfect investments don't exist. Now, I'll tell you that even though the TRIP is better than your variable annuity, is the best option out there right now, it still has advantages, and guess what it also has? And they're going to say with disadvantages. Missy, would you come in here a second? I'm getting a error message.
Sure can. I'll be right there.
And I'm getting people saying that my audio is breaking up, and it's okay. So, would you like to see what? You can't hear me? Okay. So, would you like, sorry about this, guys, we're getting a little technical difficulties here, so appreciate your patience. So now we're going to say, so what would you like to know or see with this trip and how it could be better? Now, to be honest with you, it has advantages and it has what? It has disadvantages, yeah. So there may be some reasons you might not be able to do this. But if it didn't have disadvantages and it could do all these things that would make it the best investment possible, I mean, you can't go back in the past, so we can't change what you've already done. But if you were going to invest money today, would you rather do this, or would you rather do this variable annuity, or would you rather do this best thing right here if you could do it all over again? Well, I'd rather have this. Again, they're telling us over and over and over they want the trip. You're going to see that through all the part 1, part 2, part 3. Exactly. So there are some reasons we might not be able to do this, but if you could, you'd want to do what? We'd want to do this. Well, the first disadvantage is this, is that not everybody can do it. Only about 60 to 70% of people out there are able to use the trip plan. And I'm not sure yet whether you're one of that 60 or 70% or whether you're part of the 30 or 40% that would not be able to do it. But if you could do it, would you want to at least take a look at it and see if it was something that's going to fit in with what you want? What are they all going to say to that? They're going to say absolutely. So that's going to bring us to now. We've gone through part 1, which is, hey, my investment is good, but yeah, it could be better. And they've actually designed that better thing for us. And again, the software walks them through, so they design that better thing, and that the way we have them design it is exactly lays into exactly what the trip will give them. So now we need to explain what the trip is. So if we're going to, well, before we do that, I'm going to say, so I'll let you know that. So part 1, what we did is we validated the current situation. We have them admit there's no perfect investment. We have them paint a picture for us on how theirs could be better. See, this gets them all moving forward. And then us in the software would get them to tell us how they would like their current situation to be better. They'd want more growth, more income, more safety, more tax protection. So now we've taken somebody from saying, I don't really want to make any changes, to what? I want to make changes. Okay, so now we go to part 2. And we're going to have them explain to us how it works. So those of you that have been working with me over the past year with 5Q, are we going to come right out and give them the features, advantages, and benefits of this, or are we going to have them tell us a story on how it would work? So let me see some answers to this. So we're going to just tell them, here's what it is, or are we going to have them tell us a story on how it would work? I've got somebody saying, no, a story. Casey, why are we going to have them tell us a story? Everybody's saying story. Everybody understands this, tell us a story. And here's why. Because when they tell us the story, we're going to have them tell us a story that has nothing to do with finances. Because when they tell us that, hey, this is the way it works in real life, it becomes very difficult for them to tell us that even though it works this way in real life, it's not going to work this way in finances, and in particular, it's not going to work this way for me. So what we do is we're going to build them up and have them tell us over and over and over they want the trip. So here's the story. I'm going to say, so let's say we're going to go on a trip. We're going to go on a trip, and we're going to take a boat down a river. And the river goes through the jungle. And here's the thing. We don't know how long the trip could be. It could be 3 months. It could be 30 years. We don't know how long this trip is going to be. And we're going through the jungle. So the fact is we're on a boat in a river going through the jungle. And is there any grocery stores in the jungle? No. Is there any gas stations in the jungle? No. So what do we have to bring on the boat? And again, I'm going to rush through this, but this is something the software will walk the client through. Well, we need to bring food, and we need to bring fuel. Now, here's the thing with food. We're going to bring as much as we can, but what can we also expect to find maybe on the river? Could we maybe fish? Yeah. Could we maybe find some berries or apples in the jungle? Yeah. So we're going to bring as much food as we can, but we hope we can find some more food along the way. There's no guarantee, but we're hoping we can find some more food along the way. But with fuel, can we make fuel out of fish? No. So we need to bring what? We need to bring as much fuel as possible. So here's the thing. The local village and the villagers have seen lots of people go on these trips. And they've seen some trips turn out wonderfully, and they've seen lots of trips turn up really messed up. So what they do is they go to the 2 boat captains, the captain of boat A and the captain of boat B, and they say, hey, here's what we'll do for you. If you agree to give us 0.5% of your foodstuffs, of your food supplies every month, we'll help you. If you ever need food, we'll bring you more food. If you never need fuel, we'll bring you more fuel. If you ever need help, we'll be there to help you. All we're asking is if you have 100 apples, just give us a half an apple a month, and we'll be there if you ever need us. We'll give you this special phone. You call us, and we'll be there to replenish you with anything that you need or help you any way you need. So boat A thinks, I'm going on this trip. I don't know what the jungle has in store. I don't know what the river has in store. I don't know how long this is going to be. I don't know what I'm going to run into. It seems to me like to have somebody who's been on this trip before, I'll go ahead and take that up. I'll take that. So boat A says, yeah, I'll do that. But boat B says, you know what, I don't need that stuff. I've done good planning. I'm not worried about what's going to happen on the river. I mean, it's only water. It's only trees in the jungle, so nothing can really happen bad. So I'm just going to go ahead and just do it ourselves. We don't need any help. So boat B says, no. So which boat do you think you want to be on? And what do you think most people are going to say at this point? Boat A or boat B? And they say, so they go off on the trip. And at first, everything's going great. In fact, they're catching fish. They're finding food. And in fact, they're not even touching their food supplies. Their food is going up by 1% a month. So boat B, their food supply is going up by 1% a month. Are they happy? And they're going to say, yeah, absolutely, they're happy. And boat A, their food supply is going up by 1% a month too, but they're giving a 0.5% to the locals for all that protection that they're going to get, right? So at this point, which boat would you rather be in? Well, I'd rather be in boat B. Yeah, I would too. But is boat A really being hurt at all? Or is boat B living the life and doing all sorts of things at boat A? Or are they both doing okay? Well, they're both doing okay. And is boat B living a better life than boat A? Well, no, not really. No, but I mean, if I had my judgment, it would be boat B. But is there really any difference between boat A and boat B? And they're going to say, well, no, there's not really any difference between boat A and boat B. And then we're going to go to the next stage. We're going to say, so, when you go on a trip, can somebody, is it possible somebody could get hurt or sick? And they're going to say, yeah. So let's say somebody gets hurt and sick, and they're really hurt and sick. Their temperature's at 106, and they're dehydrated, and it's very apparent that that they need help right now. If they don't get help, they're gonna die. Now, boat B, what did they tell the locals? They said we don't need any help, but now it ends up they needed some help. So when they call up the locals and say, I need somebody to help us, because if you have a loved one that needs help, you're going to do what to get them help? You're going to get them help any way you can. So they call up the locals, and what do the locals say? Tough tootie. You don't have an agreement with us. And boat B says, still, what can we'll do anything to help this person. So guess what the locals say? Okay, then give us half of your food, and then we'll help you. Now, if you have a loved one, and they demand half your food, but you want to help that loved one, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to give them the food. Yeah, you give them the food. I mean, you have to, right? But when you give them half your food and you don't know how long your trip's going to be, you don't know how long it's going to take to get there, you don't know what other things you're going to see in the future, how's that going to make you feel? Is that going to raise your stress level or lower your stress level? It's going to raise it. Are you going to be living the life, or are you going to be worried about how much you can have for supper the next day? I mean, how is that, on that boat, how is that going to change your life when half of your supplies disappear just like that? Happy or not happy? Not happy. But of course, what do we say with boat A? When someone got sick there, they picked up the phone, called the locals, and what the locals do? They came and helped out at no cost. So which boat do you want to be on? You want to be in boat A, or do you want to be in boat B? And what do they think they're going to say? I want to be in boat A. Exactly. I mean, that's what most people would want to be on, right? Now, as you go down, you're using fuel, and then let's say you hit a rock and you have a fuel leak and you've lost a third to half of your fuel. What can boat B do? Nothing, right? They're stuck. So that means, what are they going to have to start to do? They're going to have to start to row. And I don't know if you've ever been on and seen these river boats where they actually take long poles and pull the boat up the river. But that's what they're doing now. They're rowing, they're poling, and think about this. They're doing it in the heat of the night or the heat of the day, the mosquito-infested night. I mean, what's happening to their lifestyle? What's happening to their stress level? Going up or going down? Again, I'm going through this much more fast than I would normally go through with a client. So obviously they're not they're up a creek right here, right? But what does boat A get to do? What's boat A get to do? They call the locals and they refuel the boat. So which boat do you want to be in? Boat A or boat B? Oh, boat A. And then as time goes on, they find out, you know what? Some of the food got wet. It's spoiled. So their food supplies have been greatly reduced, even more so. And they're not finding as much fish. They're not finding as much food in the jungle to eat. So at this point, they're living off just what they can find, and what they can find is only half of what it used to be before. It's only 0.5% per month. So what's happening with boat B? They're close out of fuel. Their food supplies are gone. They're living at that 0.5% a month. Do you think that life is good on boat B, or do you think it's a little stressful in boat B? Yeah. And boat A, what happens on boat A? Well, here's the thing. Can they afford to pay the locals anymore? No, because they need that food that they were giving him. They need that now, right? So they call up the locals and say, we cannot pay you anymore. So the locals say, okay, we'll just resupply you one last time. and then we'll shake hands and call it good. So which boat would you rather be on? The boat that's totally out of, it's nearly out of supplies, living on a 0.5% a month, or the one that's still getting the 0.5% a month and is going to get resupplied just one last time? Which boat do you want to be on? Well, I want to be on boat A. Exactly. Well, here's the thing about boat A and boat B. Boat B is your variable annuity. Now, again, this works for mutual funds, stocks, bonds. I'm just doing this for your benefit, but we're going to talk about variable annuities today. So boat B is variable annuity. Boat A is your variable annuity with the TRIP program. So let's look at how that would work. Well, let's think about it. At retirement, what can happen with our investments? Well, the market could go up, and if the market goes up, what's going to happen to your variable annuity? And you see down here at the bottom, your account's going to grow. Well, what's going to happen with the TRIP? So we'll click the button, and again, this is just an outline of what the software is going to actually look like. So your account's going to grow, but it's going to grow 0.5% slower. So how's that going to change your lifestyle? If your accounts are growing, this was growing the full amount, this is growing 0.5% slower, how will that affect your lifestyle? I mean, down here with the variable annuity, are you going to say, oh, great, I can now buy the buy that Learjet we've been looking at, or buy that $3 million estate that we were looking at? Or really, does it affect your life at all, your lifestyle at all, if your account's growing or if your account's growing at 0.5% slower? Well, no, it's really not changing that much. No, so you're happier with the variable annuity, but are you unhappy with the TRIP? No, I'm not unhappy with the TRIP. I'm still fine with that. Exactly. Now, as we retire, what else can happen? Well, we could have health problems that need long-term care, right? And with health care or long-term care, how much does long-term care cost today? Well, about $80,000 a year. So how's that going to affect your variable annuity? Well, the account's going to be draining. And again, I'm going through this very rapidly. We're going to be going through it much slower and painting pictures for the client so they can understand this. So I'm just doing this for your benefit. So down here we see account draining. Well, here's the thing. With the TRIP, the account value is untouched. So with the variable annuity, your account's draining up here. Your account value is untouched because the TRIP will pay for your long-term care. So which boat do you want to be in, boat A or boat B? Which do you want to be in, just your variable annuity or the variable annuity with the TRIP protecting you? Well, I want to be in the TRIP protecting me. Exactly. Now, the other thing you have to think about is when your spouse dies, you're receiving two checks right now. The husband, you receive one and your wife receives one. And when one of you dies, what happens to the amount of checks you receive from Social Security? Well, one goes away. Yeah, which means your Social Security is cut by 1/2 to 1/3. Now, I tell you, the two things that I find are most stressful for my clients in retirement is, number one, if they ever need long-term care, that's extremely stressful for them. And number two is when a spouse passes and they figure out, oh my gosh, I have to live on 1/3 to 1/2 of the income that I was having come in before. That's stressful. So with the variable annuity, guess what's going to happen? Well, you're going to lose 1/2 to 1/3 of your Social Security. You're going to have to figure out how you're going to make that income up from your variable annuity. But what happens with the TRIP is that your 1/3 to 1/2 of your Social Security is gone, but the spouse presses a reset button, and all of that income is replaced automatically, and then some, with inflation protection. Which boat do you want to be in, boat A or boat B? Which investment do you want to be in, variable annuity or variable annuity with the TRIP? What do you think they're going to say? I'd rather be in the TRIP. Exactly. Now, the other thing is the market can go down, right? If the market goes down, what's happening to your variable annuity? Well, the account's draining. But with the TRIP, the spouse gets to press a reset button, and all of the account's going to be replenished to where it was before, and you no longer have to pay any more future payments. So which do you want to be in, the variable annuity or the TRIP? And they're going to say the TRIP. So again, I've rushed through this, and it'll be much slower with the software and having the client walk through this. But they're going to tell us, I want the TRIP, I want the TRIP, I want the TRIP. Guess how many times they've told us they want the TRIP? At this point, probably over 30 times they've told us they want the TRIP. I say, so do you want to see how this actually works then? Or it would work in your particular situation? They say, well, yeah, I would. So then what we do is the software goes to part 3 of the software. We're going to get the client to tell us an additional 15 times that the TRIP isn't just better than the current situation, but that it crushes their current situation. So again, those of you that have coached with the 5Q have heard me say this before. The best way to sell anything is with contrast, because we've been taught contrast from the time we were 3 years old. I mean, that's the way our mind works. Up, when I say up, what's the first thing you're thinking? Down. If I say left, what are you thinking? Right. If I'm thinking fast, you're thinking slow. We see we've been trained to do contrast. If you think about it, how do people buy things? They put them side by side and compare them, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put these things side by side and have the client see side by side how their current situation is as compared to their current situation with the addition of TRIP would be. And if you think about when you go to the eye doctor, here's why it works so well. When you go to the eye doctor, what's the eye doctor say? Does he say, hey, does this, which one looks better? Or does he say, does the first or the second look better? You say second. Okay, does this one or this one look better? Well, the second one. Does this one or this one look better? The first one. Isn't that how he does it? Because that's how our minds work. We can only compare two things at one time, but when we do compare two things at one time, we are absolutely certain that one is better than the other. There's no, I need to think about it. You don't tell the eye doctor, oh, I need to think about this. No. You're instantaneously able to say, no, this one is much better. And that's what we do with the third part of the software. We're going to go through all the different scenarios that the client could go through. So one of the scenarios is the markets could go up. So we compare what they currently have. The software will compare what they currently have and what they have now and what it would be with TRIP. And they find out that if markets go up, the TRIP will double their accounts instantaneously. And the next thing that can happen is, well, markets go down. Well, how would the TRIP affect their current account if markets go down? Well, the TRIP account will double their account again if markets go down instantaneously. What if they need income? They're going to find out that, well, TRIP is better. If they don't need income, it's going to find that TRIP doubles their account. If they need long-term care, they're going to find that TRIP pays for the long-term care. The eventuality of losing a third to half of their Social Security, they're going to find that TRIP doubles their account. So they're going to go side by side. They're going to find that no matter what could possibly happen to them going forward, the TRIP is always going to be not only a little better, but a lot better than their current situation. So then they're going to say, well, how do we do this? I want to get started. And you're going to have to re-emphasize that, hey, as I said earlier, I understand that you want to do this, but only 60 to 70% of people actually qualify for this. So we have to see if you qualify. And I'll go through that here in a second. But I want to just tell you at this point what it could do for you going forward. What could TRIP do for your business going forward? See, because they're going to find out that regardless of what happens, they want the TRIP. And they want it bad. Because they told you now 45 plus times, I want the TRIP, I want the TRIP, I want the TRIP. If they told you 45 times they want the TRIP, how much selling do you have to do, guys? So none, exactly, Al. None. If they tell you 45 times that they want this thing, guess what you have to, you don't even have to sell. And so far, have I sold anything to you guys? And again, you haven't seen the whole thing and I've rushed through it. But you get the feel of the flow. Have I sold anything? No. I just asked you a question. This is what happens. What do you want to be in? This is what happens. Where do you want to be? This is what happens. Where do you want to be? And they keep telling me, I want the TRIP, I want the TRIP, I want the TRIP. See, TRIP has it sell them to themselves. It's proof by assertion. The more something is said, the truer it gets. I mean, we just got through the political season. Politicians use this all the time, right? They say something over and over and over until everybody believes it's what? True. So, TRIP works with all managed money, variable annuities, fixed annuities, stocks, mutual funds, bonds, REITs. Works with everything. Works with life. So, it works with everything that's out there. So, that's the great thing about TRIP is that all of a sudden now, any client who's age 55 and above, this applies to. And no money is locked up. No money is locked up. Here's why. We're not requiring them to move their assets. They don't have to move their assets. So even if it's locked up in a REIT, they can still do this. They can still utilize the TRIP. Even if it's a variable annuity with a 7% surrender charge, they can still do this because they don't have to move the money. So now all the people you run into are viable clients. And it's compliance friendly. Why? Because there's no churning. You're not moving the assets around. There's no suitability problems with the companies. And all the products that we'll be using are already approved 100% by 100% of broker-dealers, security and insurance regulatory agencies. These are products that have been around forever. They've just never been put together in the way that we're going to show you how to put them together and never paid for in the way we're going to show you how to pay for them. So there's no compliance problems. And now you can go to any single client out there, age 55 and above, and no matter what they have their assets in, they're going to want the TRIP. It's advisor-friendly because here's the thing. You are guaranteed, regardless of your situation, if you've been in the industry at least 3 years, you're guaranteed to make $25,000 before you spend a dime on marketing. And I'm talking about spend a dime on marketing. So I'm not talking about the All-Pro where you'll fill up a seminar and then you pay us for reservations. I'm talking about you're guaranteed to make $25,000 before you spend a dime on marketing. So if you don't have a cent in your bank account to spend on marketing, you're still guaranteed to make $25,000 before you would spend any money. And here's the great thing. If you made $25,000, guess what you can now afford to do? If you don't have a dime in your accounts for marketing, you can market more, Al, exactly right. But here's the thing. Not only will you make $25,000 right up front, but it sets you up for another $45,000 in trailers over the next 10 to 15 years. So you see the trailers are actually worth almost double what the initial income was. So how would you like to set yourself up with $45,000 of trailers for every $25,000 you made? That's setting yourself, I mean, there ain't no money marketing or money management system out there that's going to give you those kind of trailers. Is there twice as much as what you made from the get-go? So could easily make, here's the thing, guaranteed to make over $25,000 before you spend a dime on marketing, but many of you will be able to make over $300,000 before you spend a dime on marketing. It depends on your practice, but I guarantee you many of you are going to be making over $300,000 before you spend a dime on marketing. And it's because you simply have something that your competitors don't. Solutions. And here's the best thing. So a lot of you are saying, hey, you know what, sounds great, Mike, but it sounds too great. How the hell would I know if it's going to work or not? Well, here's the great thing. Once you get the software, and again, I apologize, you're not going to get the software until February, but I wanted you to have this information so as you're making your business plans, your marketing plans going forward to 2013, this needs to be part of it. That's why I wanted to get it to you early. But it takes a couple of months to get the software put together, and that's what we're doing right now. But here's the thing. You'll be able to make, because this is a 45-minute presentation. That's all it is. It's not a seminar. It's not mailing out postcards. It's a 45-minute presentation. You'll be able to know the first day you use it if it works or not. Simply go to 3 of your clients, do the 45-minute presentation, and you're going to know immediately if it works. And we've already had guys do this. You'll get half of those people are going to instantaneously that day say, I want to do this. So the day after you learn how to do this, you could make 2 sales, and that's how you're going to know. You're going to show it to 2 or 3 of your clients, and if they say it's stupid, then you just move on. But the fact is, how many of your clients are going to say it's stupid when they've told you 45 times they want it? They're not. So making 2 sales on average, that's going to put $10,000 in your pocket and set you up with $21,000 in trailers going forward over the next 10 to 15 years. So you don't have to wait for months. You don't have to wait for a seminar mailing where it takes 30 days to get the mailing out, then you have to meet with them, then you have to meet with them for 3 times. You don't have to wait for any of that stuff. You make a 45-minute presentation, boom. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, see, it's just a tack-on plan. You don't have to change a thing that you're doing. You sell the same things you love to sell. It's FINRA and BD approved products. It works for everybody. It works for registered reps, RIAs, and insurance professionals. You don't have to change a single thing that you're doing. You're simply going to ask one additional question to people, clients and prospects, and that is, would you like to see a way to double your income, double your growth, double your safety, and do it so without taxes? What do you think they're going to say when you say that? They're all going to say, yeah, I'd like to see that. Don't believe it. Like to see it. And then you simply walk them through the 45-minute presentation, and presto, you've got people signing up for the trip. See, you can make $300,000 on top of what if all you did, let's say you made $150,000 this year, just do what you're doing and add this one question on, boom. Now you made $150 plus an additional $300,000 on top of that, plus all the trailers that it gives you. And I will not even tell you how much trailers you'd make on $300,000 because you won't believe me. But you can go back and just do the math yourself. If you make $10,000, you get $21,000 worth of trailers. You can see what you would make if you made this kind of money. Now, this is on top of what you normally make, so you don't have to make any change to what you're doing. Now, of course, some guys are going to want to do this full-time, but you don't have to even do this full-time. So how can it possibly work like this? Simple. If you give clients what they want, which is to eliminate their fears, eliminate the fear of the cost of health care, the economy, running out of money, inflation, tax increases, the low interest rates or stock market fluctuations, eliminate those problems and give them everything they want, which is a lot more growth, a lot more income, a lot more safety, and no taxes. Guess what you're going to have? A lot of interested people or not very many interested people. And it's going to give you what you want. You're going to be seeing people, closing people, making money. 5 to 6% isn't a fantastic commission, but it's not a bad commission. And then you get another 0 to 5% the second year and another 9% over the next 10 to 15 years. That adds up to some fantastic commission. And again, we're just putting together products that have been around forever, advisors have used forever, that every BD is okay with, every regulatory agency okay with, and we just put them together in ways nobody's thought about before, and we're paying for them in ways that nobody have thought about before. That's all we're doing. See, and one of my favorite movies is, if you build it, they will come. And really, that's why I designed the trip, is because I was talking back in this summer to some movers and shakers in the industry, and they said, Mike, here's what you need to do. Quit showing people how to market. Quit showing people how to market. There's a gazillion things out there on how to market. And sure, your seminar is better than everybody's out there. But you know what? Try to explain that to everybody. And then when you put people in front of a bunch of people, advisors are always going to have excuses on why they couldn't sell those people. Oh, they weren't the right people. They didn't have money, or blah, 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 blah. It says, quit doing that. Just quit marketing. Instead, give them a presentation. Give advisors a presentation that is a no-brainer for the client. That's what's going to make all your guys successful. Quit trying to market for them. Instead, give them a presentation that when they put it in front of a client, all the clients are going to want it. That's how their guys are going to get successful. Because then marketing takes care of itself. Because when that happens, guys aren't afraid to do seminars. When that happens, guys aren't afraid to go back to their current clients. When that happens, they're not afraid to go back to their prospects. When that happens, they're not afraid to ask for referrals. Give them something that when they put it in front of a client, it's a no-brainer for the client, and the client buys it right then and there. It gives advisors huge amounts of confidence. So that's what I did. I took 2 months. I took September, October, and I put my brain to how can I create a presentation that's a no-brainer for clients and going to give them all the things they want, and that's how I developed the trip. So, again, the software will be out in early February, but we're doing a training here at the end of January so that you can come out in a day and a half, and I've taught this already to 5 people, and they've learned it almost instantaneously. So we're going to train you for 4 hours, and by coming out to the, we piggybacked it, and I know that Jason has been calling a lot of you about this Allianz meeting they're having January 29th and 30th. And I guess it's, so I don't know what days that is.
It's actually,
but what we're going to do is they're done on 30th, halfway through.
it's a Tuesday,
So,
Wednesday,
what
Mike.
we're going to do is train from 3 to 7, so we're just tacking it on at the end of the training of Allianz. So you don't have to spend an extra day here. You actually just tack it onto that afternoon, a 3 to 7 training session, so that you'll be able to go home and actually start doing this the first part of February. Okay?
So Mike,
am I going to tell you what the product is? No. What I will tell you is this, is it's sold by life insurance companies, and it's been around forever, but we actually found some clauses in certain policies that may allow it to do all of these things. So it's a life insurance policy, but it's not a life insurance policy, because if you think about it, life insurance policies are designed to what? To insure lives. And the analogy I give is this. Is a car and a recreation vehicle the same? Is a car and recreation vehicle the same? No, they're not. But yet they are. They both have 4 wheels. They both have an engine. They both have a steering wheel. They both get you from one place to another, but are they the same? No. Because can you take a shower in a car? No. Can you entertain 6 people for dinner in a car? No. Can you sleep 5 people in a car? No. Can you watch TV with 5 people in a car? No. So even though at the core it's the same, they're both transportation vehicles, they're not the same, because a car can't give you the kind of lifestyle that a recreational vehicle can. And so what the TRIP qualified plan is, it's a life insurance policy, but it's a life insurance policy on steroids. We found a few policies that will actually qualify for this, which will not insure people's lives, because people are not interested in insuring their lives anymore. They could care less about insuring their lives. But do they want to insure themselves against inflation? Do they? Yes. Do they want to insure themselves against market upturns or downturns? Yes. Do they want to insure themselves against health costs? Do they want to insure themselves against losing income? Do they want to insure themselves against the economy falling down around their ears? Do they want to ensure that they can never lose their money? Do they want to have a reset button that they can reset anytime they want? Yes. So what this is the life insurance policy that's not really a life insurance policy. It's doing all these, because they're not interested in life insurance. They're interested in all the other things that it does. So we found a few companies that have policies that will do this by looking through the small print. Now, I'm not going to tell you what companies those are, and Jason's under strict orders not to tell you what those are either, because here's the thing. When did I say the software is going to be ready for you to use this? When did I say the software? February. Okay, Eric, February. So what can happen between now and February to those products? Do you think they may be the same products or they may be different products? So guess when we're going to announce which products these are? Let's see somebody answer this. When are we going to, not January 1, January 30th, Travis, you're right. We're going to tell you what the products are when we put out the software so that you're using, there's no sense you run around right now with products that aren't going to work. So we're going to give you the products at that time. So do you see how this could change your practice next year? So if all you do is tack on one question to the back of every client and prospect you see, and all you do is say, hey, would you like to see a way to increase your growth, increase your income, increase the safety of your portfolio, and do it all tax-free? Would you like to take a look at that? How many clients are going to say, nah, not really interested? All the clients are going to want to do that. And then what you do is you have the client tell you 45 times, I want the trip, I want the trip, I want the trip, I want the trip. And I guarantee you that when you walk the client through this software, or the software walks the client through the process, there's not one single time they're going to say, I don't want the trip. It's all designed to say, I want the trip, I want the trip, I want the trip. So at the end, guess what they want? The trip. So again, you're not going to be able, will this be available on iPad, Missy, Steve asked?
Yes, the presentation will be available on any mobile devices.
I can hear her talking in the other room. She has to
you can't hear me? Can you hear me now? I feel like a Verizon commercial.
So we still can't hear you, Missy. I don't know if you're not listening to us or not. But yeah,
no,
I believe, Steve, it is going to be available on iPad, because I asked her last week, and she said, yes, the developers were doing that. So it will be available on iPad. Oh, you can hear Missy?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I
can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
So strange.
Okay, so
okay,
yes,
well,
it's going to be available on all mobile devices.
Boy, we've never had this much technical difficulty before. So, how do you get trained? Well, yes, you just call Jason. He'll get you set up with all this. I believe, I don't want to put my foot on my, talk to him. They are sponsoring some people and paying for them to come out. So, you know, this might be a way for you to get trained at no cost. So call Jason, talk to him about this Allianz meeting, and then we're just tagged on to the end, and within 4 hours, we'll train you on the software, train you on the script, and send you on your way. It's that easy. And I believe if you talk to Jason, you may be able to, and I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, so I apologize if I am, but I know that some people have qualified to go out for free, and I don't know what those qualifications are, so get a hold of Jason, and we'll take care of it. And then you just tack it on. You go to the Allianz meeting, then come over to our training, and we'll get you all set up, and you can kick this off in February. And, guys, the people I've shown in the industry, and these are some old codgers, they have never been more. They said, I haven't seen anything like this in 10 years. It's not just a rehash of of old things repackaged and with pretty bow. This is a brand new thing nobody's seen before. It's something that gets clients to say, yes, I want this thing, and it puts you in a situation of extreme confidence when somebody tells you 45 times they want it, and then fills your bank accounts so that you're able to then get in front of more people, start doing the seminars, and when you're in front of seminars, you're very confident you're going to be able to sell a lot of people in that seminar. But you don't have to, that's not where you're going to start. You're going to start with just going back to the people you've seen this year, go back to your clients, show them this, and that's how you're going to build up your marketing coffers. So any questions on this besides exactly what it is? Because I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is until we have the software put together and have the products put in place. Does it involve moving their accounts to me? No. That's the great thing. It does not involve moving their accounts at all. Period. The underwriting requirements, again, that's going to be differ from, somebody's wondering about the underwriting requirements, that's going to differ from one policy to another trip qualified policy, and that's why we're waiting till we find out 2 months from now when we get closer to the launch of the software that we'll tell you exactly what companies are going to give you a better idea of the underwriting. But that's why, remember when I was doing the presentation, I said, hey, only 60 to 70% of the people will qualify for this. And here's the great thing. When you tell clients only 60 to 70% of people qualify for it, does that make them want it more or less? More, exactly. But does it give you an out in case they don't qualify? Yes, it does. And then we actually have some fallbacks. So let's say they can't be underwritten. We have a couple of fallbacks that when you come to go back to see them, you say you didn't qualify for this, but you can get this or you can get this. So you're still able to capture that 30 or 40% that don't qualify for underwriting, you're still going to be able to capture a good half of them with another sale. So you're not going to be even losing those people, okay? So how can I get trained if you can't make the January date? We'll be doing trainings every month thereafter, Ron. So sometime in February, you'll be able to come out again. We don't know the exact date, but.
And for those of you that were wondering, the Allianz training is Tuesday the 29th, all day, and the morning of Wednesday the 30th, and our training would be tacked on to the afternoon, so it would be 3 to 7 p.m. on the 30th. That's Wednesday. So you'd still be able to take a very late night flight back home or a Thursday morning flight back home.
So you done talking there, Missy?
I am. I'm sorry. Yes.
I can hear you through the other room. So guys, I apologize that we're saying, hey, we got this great thing, but you can't open the present until for a month and a half. But I wanted you, I know a lot of you, December is used to plan your 2013. So I wanted you to know this was coming in 2013 early on, so that as you're making your marketing plans for next year, you can integrate this into your marketing plans. That's why I'm giving it to you this early, so you didn't yell at me and say, why didn't you tell me this earlier? I've done all these other plans, and this is screwing them up. So I'm telling you early so you can integrate this into your marketing plans. But we want this software to be tested, or designed, tested, and ready to roll out with no snafus when we roll it out to you in late January. So I appreciate your patience with that. I apologize, but that's why I'm telling you about it this early. I didn't want you to yell at me. I mean, you're going to yell at me now for telling you early, but you would have yelled at me even more if I had waited to tell you and you'd done a lot of other planning without even knowing this was coming down the road. So, I've been doing this. I've been in the industry for 22 years. I have not been this excited in those 22 years. Probably, you know what, I was excited one time this much, as that's when they first rolled out income benefit riders in the late 90s. I was this excited. But I haven't been that excited since the late 90s. And the guys I've talked to that are old codgers that have seen everything in the industry, they're the same way, just simply because of the way the presentation locks the clients into what they want. It's a win-win. It gives the clients everything they want, and it's a win for you. And it's very easy to do because, again, as Michael Peterson was wondering, do I need to move my accounts? No, you don't have to move any money. So it's such a low hurdle for clients. They're saying, yeah, if I don't have to move any money, all I have to do is peel a little bit of income off to just pay for the trip. Yeah, let's do it right now. Okay? So I'm excited. Next week is Joe Lucas. He's a coach. I would highly recommend you be on that call as well as you're doing your planning for 2013. He's a fantastic coach when it comes to getting you focused on what you need to focus on. And he's got a lot of free things to offer you next week on Monday, so I would highly recommend you be on that call. He's a great resource, fantastic coach. I've known a lot of guys that have seen their businesses double with him. So please be on that call for him. Again, he's going to have a lot of free things for you. I wouldn't want to miss that. I'm excited, guys. I think 2013 is going to be a fantastic year for all of us, all the way down to the lowliest of the low and the highest of the high, simply by incorporating what we talked about today. So I thank you for being on. Can't wait for next year. And please be on the call next Monday for Joe Lucas.
And for all of those comments about Minnesota weather in January, we'd just like to point out that it's 55 here today. So we can't make any promises about what January will bring. But today is the month of December has been very friendly to us here in Minnesota. So,
Missy, you've been talking to them over there. I mean, they're going to be outside a total of how many minutes?
Like literally 3, getting off of a shuttle into the meeting room, back and forth. So it's really not going to be that painful.
So thanks, guys. I appreciate your patience with us and being loyal to us, and I can't wait to roll this out next week. And thanks for being on the call today, and we will talk again soon. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.